Financial incompatibility is the leading cause of divorce and separation worldwide. Why is it that so many of us have bought into the lie that it is normal to be financially incompatible?
We have encountered so many couples who have come up with questions for us. Questions like, should we have a joint account? What do we do with the spouse who's a hoarder and is, has held on to the money and is refusing to let go?
Or the spouse who's a spender and just wants to splurge whenever they make the money. What do you do when the husband earns a lot less than the wife? And we're talking about African husbands, sometimes can be very threatening situation.
Yeah, that can be. And as we reflected on the questions that we were receiving from all these couples, we realized that we have been blessed, honestly, to have had mentors who are older than us, who helped us understand how to manage our money together and even how to grow our money together.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's why we came up with Couples and Money. It's a 10-week online masterclass that helps you develop financial compatibility, financial oneness. It's going to teach you how to make money as a couple, but it's also going to teach you to have common values that when you make money, money does not divide you, but actually draws you closer together. And we've seen couples change. We've seen people understand how to grow resource together. We've seen couples understand how to have safe money conversations, and that's a big deal.
That's a big
We've
deal.
seen couples being able to do great things that they only dreamt about being able to do previously before that.
Yeah. So if this sounds intriguing to you in any way, then we invite you to come to this mentoring program where you will be mentored together with your spouse on how to manage your finances together. So we encourage you, sign up for Couples and Money.
See you there.
Good morning, good afternoon from wherever you are in the world today. Welcome to this Couples and Money Open Day session. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome once again to this Couples and Money Open Day session. And it's wonderful to have each and every one of you here. My name is David Osijenyi, and I am your moderator for today's session and host, and I'm really honored to be doing this January. And we're really excited to be doing this as we introduce Couples and Money to many different couples that have not had the chance to be part of this. Now, I know you received this invite from somebody, you received it from somewhere, and I'm sure you still have it in your phone. So if you're able to send that WhatsApp message to a friend, to a family member, someone who you know needs to be here, they are married to somebody and you have an idea, they may not quite have figured out their finances. Or maybe you don't even know, but you're sure they did talk about Couples and Money to you. Well, you want to send them the invite link and welcome them to this session. So I'll just give you a minute to do that. Send that link to a friend, send that link to a family member, send that link to your groups, your marriage groups. Maybe it's a group that you've been a part of, a marriage group. You went to the same marriage enrichment group. Maybe you've been part of the same premarital counseling group. Invite them. You're in a couples group in church or in a couples group somewhere, you do something together. Send this message to them and tell them there's some amazing conversations going on Zoom right now, and they need to plug in here right now. Besides moderating and emceeing this Couples and Money event, I am also a business owner. I and my wife together run the Opportuno Consulting Limited, which is a consultancy firm that focuses on three key areas. Number one, we do sustainable revenue generation and management for businesses, helping businesses sell better and manage their revenues better. We also do system development and implementation, which is really around processes, helping businesses put their activities into processes and systems. And then lastly, we talk about human capital development, which is where we do training, coaching, and team building. And that is the passion for me and my wife. And so Opportuno Consulting Limited brings our efforts together, and we do that together as a couple. If you're joining us for the very first time, Couples and Money is a 14-week online course, and basically the whole program takes 14 weeks because of the practical sessions and the different activities that we have in between. But the main course is 10 modules, and then we have other activities that happen throughout the program, which leads it to a 14-week engagement. And it's just a space where we get couples to come and harmonize their perspective about money. Now, we'll be talking more about that in a short while. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I want to invite our guests for today. And these are none other than Jemima and Eric Zola.
Hello and good evening, everyone.
Hi.
Pastor CJ, we are here.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I'm just trying to adjust my audio my video so that I can see you guys. It is wonderful to have you guys here and really awesome.
Eric is not yet home, so he's joining from a different gadget.
Awesome. So Jem and Eric, you guys have quite the story, and we are really excited to be sharing your story today. And maybe you could just begin by introducing yourselves. Who are the Zolas and what do you guys do?
Okay. Yeah, my husband, I see you. You can go first?
Yes. Sorry, I got late at work. I'm still somewhere on the road, but I hope you can see me clearly a bit in the dark. So my name is Eric Zola, married to Jemima Zola. Been married for 15, and in this June 6th, we are turning 16 years.
Awesome.
And it's been an interesting journey. Thank God for every bit of it. And in a summary, I'm a civil engineer by profession. So I do a bit of consultancy work in civil engineering works. And also we manage another construction firm. Alongside that, we are partnering with some couples to do real estate development in Kikuyu area, Kikabura. Yeah. Alongside that, we also do a bit of farming, sweating out our assets, some beekeeping, some farming of good potatoes and like. And yeah, that's who we are. My wife will talk about herself, but I'm sure there are things she will not want to say, but I will say them. She's an author, so she will better tell us about her books. So that's where we are blessed with 3 kids, 16, 12, and 8 years old. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And Jemima, over to you.
You can tell who is the marketer in our house, eh?
So, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. So my name is Jemima Zola. I'll not repeat a lot that my husband has said, but I'm a wellness expert. So I do holistic nutrition therapy. I also train on all-rounded wellness and coach on the same, as well as consult on the same. I know that all those are different terms that people might be confused about, but simply put, I just make people appreciate what all-rounded wellness and seek to do that for their own lives so that they can live fulfilled and fruitful lives. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. And we can hear that you guys are living quite fulfilled and fruitful lives, and we can't wait to hear more about this. As any couple, and I've been married for 16 years right now, and as many couples, I'm sure there have been challenges that you faced trying to manage your finances together. What were some of these challenges that you experienced earlier in your marriage? I don't know who's gonna go first. Maybe Eric, you can start us off.
Hey, you're throwing me the deep end. I think number one is I call it the financial incompatibility, of course, where you find you're earning different income streams, and now you're looking at the other spouse. What are you really doing on your side? So do you need to pull this together? How do we budget together? And how do we invest together as a couple? regardless of how much each is earning.
Mhm.
And we've been able to overcome that. I think my wife will expound more on that. And the
Yeah.
other one is coming out to different backgrounds, different family setup, value
Yeah.
systems in terms of how we were brought up. So
Yeah.
what I value most, she may not value, but we've been able to arrive at compromise whereby it's about being mindful of your significant other.
Yeah.
So in that, we're able to come together and iron out those little foxes here and there, finish them, and just pull together towards a common goal of raising a family, a godly family, in the ways of the Lord. Thank you.
Interesting. I like the story about us about little foxes. What are some of the things you are battling with?
Okay.
Wow.
Okay, you can go ahead.
No, just say, I love your examples.
Okay. One would be, how do you pull your money in different, when you are earning, you have different salary account or other business account and the like.
Yeah.
So how do you bring it together? Who takes care of what and what? How do you pull same budget? Because you have different budgets, then you have different focus. How do you remain focused to your solid budget and expenses so that you're able to control your expenses as family expenses, not like you do what you need to do, then I do what I do. So we're able to harmonize that and make similar decisions so that the decisions I make in her absence, when I tell her it's acceptable, it's like, yes, you did the decision that I would have made also. So coming into sync and agreeing how you bring in that without any conflict is a challenge. So we are able to allow each other and manage that other comfortably. So we've been able over the years to discuss, do those money dates, which we learned from Couples and Money, and pull together so that we can iron out. She used to call it tissue party. She will tell us more about tissue party when it comes to family finances and budgeting together. So, and also dealing with relatives. Maybe they want to access the black tax thing. How you want to invest in this, they want to pull you on this. Can you support this neighbor? We have also been able to agree, come to terms on how to deal with that comfortably, without having conflict within one another. Yes.
I'm sure while all this was happening, the relationship must have been facing some drama as all this was happening. What are some of the challenges, Jemima, that the relationship might have been going through because of some of these little foxes, as Eric called them?
Yeah. So definitely there were a lot of conflicts. We were just not agreeing on so many things, including things that you would term as good things, like investments, where my husband would buy a piece of land and I didn't know about it. So he comes and reports to me and tells me I bought. And I used to wonder, you don't just buy land in the supermarket. That's a major.
We're not talking about 500 shillings here.
Yeah. So there were a lot of conflicts, and it was making me feel like I'm not part of this union, or rather, I don't matter. And therefore, that would really inhibit even my input into the marriage, because I feel like I'm a sideshow. Yeah, so I think that was the key one. And then, of course, we could not have safe money conversations at all. And that's what we were calling, we used to have tissue parties instead, because anytime we try to sit down and talk about money, each of us would feel accused. Yeah, so my husband would feel I'm accusing him, and I would feel like he is accusing me. And
we know those stories.
Yeah, and for me, the quick thing was to just cry so that this thing ends.
I love it. Tears wash away all problems and end all meetings. I love it.
And so definitely there was no progress. Yeah. So we would sit and we feel very frustrated, because individually, I think we are very ambitious people and we kind of had some serious dreams for the future. But so you're here and you're feeling like you're really tied down. You can't move ahead. So it was very inhibiting. Yeah.
Wow. Listening to where you guys started and looking at where you are now, I'm curious about some of the steps you took to work through these financial issues? What are some of those steps that you took to work through these financial challenges?
Mhm. So I think the first one, which we really thank God for, was just to get to know about couples and money. So getting that financial, investing in financial education, that was very, very key, because many times each of us had gone through some financial training of sorts, but individually, it was never together as a couple. But Couples and Money is the one that now brought us together, and we were able to sit in a class together, be taught, and go through these amazing lessons. And most of them were like light bulb moments.
Yeah.
We would look and we're like, oh my goodness, how come we've never known about this thing? This is such a new thing that is happening. Yeah. And then I remember when we did the first hours, was 10 weeks. When we finished the first 10 weeks, we looked at each other and we were like, okay, we've gone through it, but are we really applying what we learned? So we quickly decided to be facilitators for the next cohort. And our main reason for facilitating, apart from just impacting other people, and paying forward, we wanted to kind of have a time to revise what we had learned. So for every week, we were very keen to do everything that we were teaching other people. So for example, when we talk about safe money conversations and money dates, we also ensured that we are actually doing that. We are having money dates so that we can start planning for our family. When we talk about budgeting, we were ensuring that we are actually budgeting. When we talk about sweating your assets, which is utilize your assets so that they don't remain dormant, even that one, we were ensuring that, okay, which assets can we quickly start sweating? Yeah, so just applying them. So that those are the steps we took.
It's so interesting. It's so interesting. And of course, word on the street is that you didn't stop there. You took to another. How did you talk about that you guys did as a couple that I thought was important and decided to take this thing to the next level? Please share a bit about that with us.
I think, Eric, you can go. You can talk about that.
About what? About the Pina family?
Yes.
Okay. I know you could have done it better, but I will do it anyway. Yeah. There was a Bible study group from church that grew up members. Actually, most of them have done Couples and Money. So we came up together, different professionals, and decided just not only a Bible study, can we do something better? So the whole idea was to first build houses that we could settle in one gated community and grow together. But then the idea changed that will lock our capital. So we decided, can we start by first of all registering 20,000 shillings? So we registered a company,
right,
Pina Developers, and when we had a target for 1 year, each couple to raise at least 1 million shillings. Then we review, and as we are contributing the money we are saving in fixed deposit, CIC fixed deposit account, and we were able to review after 1 year where we were. We found we had raised quite some good money that we could start off a real estate company. And then we decided since some couples had not raised such amount, we went by shareholding model. So you find our group, there are couples who could raise 3-4 million, others just 600,000 and the like. So we started off by buying a lot in 2021 during COVID with debt-free 7 units on a quarter acre, mansions that we were able to sell in Kekambura. Finished that, plowed back all the profit, did the second project, completed. By the time we were doing the third project, we were able to get refunded all our capital that we had raised by that time. So now we are actually running on profits from our initial capital. And we are just completing our fourth project, which has 14 units on slightly bigger than half an acre, totaling around 44 units that we have sold. Now we are only remaining around 3 units to go. So we are completing the
Eric, we lost you towards the end there. I think Jem can step in.
Yeah, it's okay. I can step in. So as my husband has said, sorry, just give me a minute. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so it was a journey of just starting small and growing into it. So currently, 4 years after, we are just finalizing the fourth project so that we can go to the fifth one. I don't know what I can add, but the most amazing thing is once we came together, having seen that majority of us had gone through Couples and Money, we decided to apply the principles we learned in Couples and Money. I'm
No
sorry.
worries. It's called
Yeah.
working from home.
Working from home. So what I was saying is, there's this proverb I love, the Chinese proverb that says that if you're the only rich or wealthy person in a group of 10, in a village of 10
Yeah.
people, then that village has 10 poor people. And simply what that means is we can never go far if you just want to be the only one doing that. So that's why we came together, all of us, and we decided to apply Couples and Money principles in what we were doing. This was unheard of. Nobody believes that we've been building debt-free, but we've actually been building debt-free. And I remember when we did the first project, at some point, we were totally cash-strapped. People had done all they could do. Again, from lessons from Couples and Money, when we were required to give the 1 million, there are people who decided to even release some of their assets. Like there are people who sold some pieces of land so that they can invest money here. And then there are also people who even decided to change their lifestyle. Like I remember a couple who sold their recliner seats and double door fridge so that they can invest their money here. And all that was just with the hope that one day we will be able to recover this money. But it was amazing to see us applying practically in our real life the things that we had learned in Couples and Money. And through that, as my husband has said, by the time we were doing the third project, we were able to everybody recouped any amount they had ever put in. Yeah,
wow.
Plus some profit on top. So currently we have profit. After every project, there's a dividend that comes in. Yet now this is dividend from pure profit. Yeah. And
I'm listening to you guys and it's still sounding like a rumor. It's one of those stories that both inspires and beats you in the back on what are you doing with your time and your money and your knowledge. My goodness. I don't know what your closing remarks would be. We had lost you for a moment there, Eric, when you were speaking, but I don't know what your closing remarks would be for that couple that's on the fence and they're not sure whether this is where they want to move into. What would you tell them about this, what they're going to hear today and what to do with this information?
Wow, great. Thank you. I wanted also to complete with what I was saying. Apart from the company we set up, as long as you are a member, we are 11 couples. My wife is a chair of a welfare committee. We're able to do a benevolent fund.
Okay, again, I can step in.
Oh, the internet is misbehaving.
Yeah, so apart from just the money factor, because it's a community, it's a family, and we are doing life together. So we have that welfare committee that has a benevolence fund to take care of any eventualities. And then we've also started doing
that takes care of us and of.
Okay. Sorry, Eric. Yeah. So we also have parental visits where we visit each other's parents and we just don't visit them, but we go with a good gift for them.
Wow.
Yeah. And for the visits that we've already done, it's been very impactful when parents see their children coming home with a group of friends, because now we are 22 people, 11 couples, and we all show up there and we go with gifts for the parents. And it's such a blessing. Yeah. To just do that. So we are doing life together. Our children are also involved. Our children know about PINA. We take them to site. They know that they are shareholders there. So, because we also want to impact the next generation, which is again a principle that we learned at Couples and Money.
Wow. You know what, guys? I'm listening to you and somebody described it as mind-blowing, but I'm listening to you. I'm barely able to keep my seat or keep myself in the seat. If it was not that I have to keep this frame, I would have actually already stood up and started walking around as I'm wondering to myself, what am I doing with my life? Because you guys are bringing to life the vision of Couples and Money. I mean, listening to the beginning of where you guys struggle to just raise 20,000 shillings to register the business and to raise your first million to contribute. And now you're millionaires, see your parents as millionaires, and more than that, raising young millionaires beyond that and continuing to make millions. Your fifth project down, you're no longer adding your own money. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. All we can say is congratulations, guys. And we definitely need you guys to do a masterclass on this. Teach us, please. And thank you so much for sharing your story. Eric, I'm so sorry that the net has misjoined from wherever you are, somewhere on the road. We wish you a safe travel to the house. And thank you again, Jem and Eric Nzola. God bless you guys and increase you. I'm blown away. We can end the meeting there. I think that was the sermon. Anyway, just kidding. We have some amazing conversations lined up for you. But I'm so challenged and so inspired by what Eric and Jemima are doing. You guys are doing some amazing work. That's what Couples and Money is about. We're about raising kingdom millionaires by 2031. And that is what we're inviting you to. And today, probably your greatest struggle is you're even thinking, it's a program. Is it being charged? Am I going to be able to pay? Well, hold your horses for a moment. We'll be giving you a little more information right now in a short while. We are having a conversations about 5 family dynamics that can sabotage the financial success of your family. You've just heard the story from Jim and Eric Nzola, and we will be now introducing our keynote speakers for today, who are Pastor Murithi and Karwan Jao, and they're the pastors of Mavuno Church, but more than that, they are authors. They met in biochemistry many, many years ago. They are authors. They have authored different books together, but more than that, they have written 2 books for marriage. One is Ndoa, which helps couples that are coming together to determine, to just align themselves as they're getting into marriage, but also those that have been married, but they feel like their foundations were not very right. And the second program is Couples and Money, which we are talking about. Married for 30 years last year, and this conference that we are having here is the story of shared from their experience. They've shared from their lessons in life, but more than that, they went on a cruise on their 30th anniversary, and it is based on the principles that they are sharing with many couples across the world today. So Couples and Money is a proven system. You've heard it from the Nzolas, and there are over 600 couples that have gone through Couples and Money. More than just the 10-week course, Couples and Money also introduces you into wealth managers. We introduce you to wealth managers who give their advisory services to Couples and Money graduates for free. That is the partnership engagement. And so if you want to know more about this, stay on until the very end. We promise not to keep you too long, but stay tuned. If you have friends that need to be here, send them the link, invite them, even as we begin our conversation on 5 dynamics that can sabotage, 5 family dynamics that can sabotage your family's success.
Yeah, welcome to our third event. We have just been doing a series of 3 events as Couples and Money, just community engagement, just sharing knowledge, just because we think there's so much knowledge that is needed by our community, and also an opportunity also to just talk a bit about Couples and Money and the program. And so very, very excited that we get a chance to talk today. And we're going to be talking about the 5 family dynamics that will sabotage your financial success this year. These are 5 dynamics that actually stand in your way. And if you don't know them and you don't actually start acting on them, then they really could pull you down this year. And so our hope is by hearing them, because forewarned is forearmed. And if you have the knowledge, then you can actually choose to do something about it. And so that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah. Well, hi, everyone, and welcome. And I'm really excited about this topic that we're going to be talking about, which are the 5 family dynamics. And the first one that we're going to be talking about is different risk appetites.
So, and as we do that, first of all, let me just say that we've had 2 different talks that have been talking about just investment opportunities for couples this year. Especially in years of crisis when there's economic challenges across the world, and some of those talks are available. Again, we make them free. So we're gonna once you're on the mailing list, then we'll send you. We always send the links for that, and even the link for this talk, we're going to make sure that we distribute it as well. So the 5. So let's just dive in just because of time. So 5 different family dynamics that you need to know about. And again, we because of our roles, my role as a pastor, and also just as somebody who works a lot with people, Carol's role, both not just as a pastor but as a therapist as well. As you can imagine, we meet a lot of couples and we meet a lot of people. So these are just this family dynamics really come from the experience we've had over the years. Just working with couples especially. So the first one is different risk appetites. So if you're taking notes, the first dynamic that you need to be aware of this year that could actually really harm you in a year like this is your different risk appetites. So what's a risk appetite? To give a definition, that actually is, it really has to do with your response to investment opportunities, your response to all opportunities. Basically, there are different kinds of people. If you're to use 2 extreme ends of the spectrum, there are those people who they love risk. They live risky lives. And so they love advancement almost at any cost. And they're always hustling, always looking for every opportunity. And many times we would jump in with a lot of enthusiasm, and not always with a lot of research. So they're on that end of the spectrum. And for them, and we have many friends who would fit here. We've known many people. And for them, many times investment and gambling there's a very thin line. And once in a while they'll break. Somebody will hit a jackpot and they'll make a lot of money. But also a lot of times you're going to find that they're going to sink the ship several times and cause a lot of pain for their spouse. And the reason I say that is because on the other end, you have the opposite, the people with a low risk appetite. And somehow, I don't know why God has a sense of humor like this. Usually couples, you'll find that when there's a very high risk appetite person in the group, in the couple, the other person tends to be a low risk person, somebody who just does not like risk, does not like being pushed, wants to really think through it. And for them, it's almost like, wow, they're very scared. And maybe even because of the burning they've seen happening with the high risk person. So here's the thing. The problem with it is you'll find the get-rich person, the high-risk person is going to be jumping into things and often blowing up. And then the other person is really averse, and so kind of puts the brakes on anything to do with investment, and they have indecision. It's almost like they postpone decisions. They want to think about things. So the one who's a high-risk person feels like they're being anchored down, and they feel like they're being pulled back. And then the high-risk, and the problem, though, is they end up also becoming a problem in the marriage, because what happens is when you're low risk like that, then you even miss genuine opportunities when they come. Not just the high risk ones, but you're going to miss all genuine opportunities. We know many couples where there's a lot of regret in the couple, because when they were younger, this person who was low risk just snuffed out everything. And now they look at opportunities after opportunities that passed them, and maybe it's a bit late now for them to take advantage of. So here's what I'm going to ask. And of course, I've tried to caricature here. Not everybody is on the extreme high risk. Not everybody's on the extreme low risk, but generally couples tend to be a bit different on this spectrum. So what I'm going to ask you to do is, if you're able to put on the chart, just help us as we go along. And maybe what you can do is, depending on who's on the keyboard, you can put hubby and put
Their risk, or the
high.
high risk.
You can put high in brackets, and then put wifey, and then put low. I mean, depending on who's who. So, okay, let's go to the next one.
Yeah. By the way, before just to mention that for the ones who are high risk,
yeah,
they normally tend to go for get rich scheme, get rich quick
questionable
schemes,
investments,
pyramid schemes.
Yeah.
And so for the person who is low risk, they look at their spouse and they're like, my goodness, this does not make sense at all.
And the problem is the issues, they're understandable.
Yeah.
Because the low risk person actually has a genuine fear.
Yeah.
Because of what they've seen this person do.
Yeah.
But then the high risk person has a genuine frustration because of how they feel they're being anchored down.
Yeah.
And this is why, I mean, it can be a really tricky situation.
Yeah. So that is the different risk appetites. Now, the second one are the different spending habits. And it's very interesting that with our spending habits, they're greatly influenced by our families of origin. And so you find that there are people who are spenders, there are those ones who are hoarders, and there are those ones who are avoiders. So let's begin with the spenders. So maybe what might be happening is that someone may come from a poor background. Mm. And as a family, maybe they felt they never grew up quite having enough. And so they told themselves they will never suffer again.
Yeah.
So when the money comes, they decide, let me spend it so that I don't feel poor. It was those backgrounds where, oh my goodness, things were just so difficult to come by. And so this is the great break. I have my money, I can now spend it and not feel poor.
Yeah.
Or perhaps there was always enough. There's the other end of the spectrum. So they never had to think about tomorrow. And so for them, for somebody who came from a background where, there was plenty, they think that money just magically appears.
Yeah.
It's always there. And the ironic thing is that in most cases, spenders are attracted to hoarders. I mean, I don't know how that happens, but in all situations, in many situations, it's there. So hoarders could also come from poor families where the only way they feel safe is seeing money in the bank account. I mean, you look at it and you have a good feeling. You have a high, during the day. Or maybe they saw their families waste money and the family ended up not doing very well. And so, they hoard. They end up hoarding. And then, of course, you have the avoiders. These are the people who don't like thinking or talking about money. Mm. For some reason, it makes them uncomfortable. And Christians are terrible at this because we can spiritualize the whole money thing and say God is going to provide, and just avoid just talking about finances and investments and so on. So for others, they feel like talking about money, it's unspiritual. For some people, they might feel it's too much drama, let things just figure out themselves. I love the example that Muna and Ben were saying that, my goodness, for them, having a conversation about money was too much. And so you could decide, if you're in that situation, to be an avoider altogether, to avoid the drama.
Yeah.
So there's a combination there. You have spenders getting attracted to hoarders, or spenders getting attracted to avoiders, hoarders getting attracted to avoiders. So I don't know. They are just these very interesting combinations of the exact opposite. And one of the things why it's so difficult to have money conversations is because they are not rational. You're being driven by fear because of your family background. And so because you're not being rational, your motives are not rational. And so that's why you have irrational conversations. Yeah. Your money conversations end up, we call them waterworks or fireworks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what we can do is just ask, where do you think, just as how we had done with the first question, where do you think you lie? Hubby? Are you avoider, hoarder,
wifey,
or spender?
Hoarder.
Yeah.
Because of time, I'll move on to the next one, even as you're writing. The third dynamic that could really threaten and sabotage your finances this year. And this one, I think, it happens a lot. Again, it's one we come across a lot. It's called the Lone Ranger. And the Lone Ranger happens in two ways. For some couples, you might find that one or both couples spouses think they don't need the other person to succeed. They already have it. They already have figured it out. Money was never supposed to be done, I mean, in partnership anyway. I've got my separate account, I've got my separate investments, and you're going to find that there are couples where none even knows what the other earns. It's not even an issue. It's like, you do you, I do me. And then in some cases, you're going to have to find, you'll find that one of the spouses is the money expert. So it could be the wife, but typically it's usually the husband. So maybe he works in investment or in banking or insurance or wealth management or one of those money things. He's an actuarial guy. He's a finance guy. And because they know so much about money, it's basically like, why are we even discussing it? Just outsourced to me. I'm the one who knows everything. And the spouse often just feels intimidated or just feels like, okay, just handle it. Especially if they're an avoider, they'll be like, okay, money is looked after out there. I don't know how it happens, but magically it shows up. Yeah. And basically that's kind of a major dynamic where you just find a couple where you're like, there's a lone ranger in this couple. Yeah. And usually it's one of them. It could be the wife, it could be the husband, or it could be both. Sometimes it's both hubby and wifey are lone rangers.
And they're happy to remain that way.
And many times they're happy to remain that because they don't see the negative or the danger of that. We've also seen cases where one spouse becomes a lone ranger out of frustration that the other spouse is not getting it. Or they're just maybe too slow, they think too long, they're risk averse, or they'll slam the idea when I bring it. So they just find themselves doing their thing, maybe not even telling the spouse what they're doing. I don't know if anyone's feeling that one. But again, it's just being able to say, are we lone rangers? Is there a lone ranger in the house? And sometimes it's a mutually agreed lone position. Sometimes it's not, but it just is. So right now, we're not even discussing the positivity or the negativity of it. We're just saying this is. Because first thing you have to do before you can actually protect yourself from these dynamics that can sink your family is to admit them, to acknowledge them. So we'll keep going. Remember, there are 5. So we want to just go into the fourth one.
Yeah, the fourth one has to do with the past hurts and betrayals. And some couples' interaction with money is determined by the past. Perhaps you trusted your spouse, they made some bad decisions that landed you in trouble, or maybe it could have been your own home.
It's historical.
It's historical. You saw, the hurts and betrayals happening in your parents' home, where maybe your mom was left destitute because of your dad's bad decisions, or vice versa. And when these issues are not surfaced and discussed, they make money conversations very uncomfortable or even non-existent. And the fear of being betrayed means that it is impossible to work together. Yeah. That fear has to be addressed.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So basically, I mean, it's you're just, all of us, by the way, our past plays a big role in who we become.
Yeah.
And so when we're basically responding to the past, and you've seen, and some of us, even it's part of our counseling by aunties and uncles. When you're getting married, it's like you never trust a man with your money. You never show her what you earn. And it's part of our cultural conditioning. And so this one, it's just, we're held by the past. And let me just say, if you're held by the past, this could actually be a family dynamic that could sabotage your ability to work together. Now, because of time, I won't ask people to comment on this one, but let me just jump to the last one, because I want us to make a few comments on how to overcome some of these things. Number 5 is lack of common money purpose.
Yeah,
maybe you can talk about that one.
And Amos 3:3 says, how can two walk together unless they are agreed? And, if you don't know where you're going, then any road is going to get you there. So if as a couple, you've not agreed or figured out the bigger purpose, the reason for your earning, reason for your investments, then you'll find yourself squabbling over small issues that are really not important. So that thing of not having a common money purpose is huge. It's one of those things that can actually cause sabotage, that could sabotage you unless you address the issue of why you're earning money together.
And it's one of those things that people don't teach you, that there's a reason for money for you as a couple. And when you don't know your reason, then reasons become small things that just draw you apart. But when a couple has a vision, there's a clarity, because the Bible says without vision, people perish. And many couples are perishing because of lack of vision. So these are the 5 things. And as we talk about them, you can see they're soft things, because many times people think that the things that will sabotage your marriage is you don't know an investment advisor, you don't know anything about stocks, and you need to learn about this. But actually, a large part of why money ends up becoming a cause of separation and divorce and sore pain in marriage, it's not even the hard issues. It's usually the soft issues. And those things can actually really sabotage. As my wife said, they're not rational. They're things that are within us, and they actually can be explained. And because of that, when we have that argument, when we have that, everyone feels on the right. And in a way they are, because your issues are genuine and they're valid. So not knowing how to manage money together, not knowing how to build wealth together, not knowing how to marry your money, this is something that is very common, even for couples who the society would define as happily married couples, couples who even are doing ministry, serving in ministries. And you're going to find that money is just a place of pain, or fear or anxiety. Now, there are powerful forces that are unleashed when you begin to understand how to work together as a team. When you become a powerful team, because there's a reason God put you together when you're a couple. It's not like, if both of you thought the same, maybe that's why he gets us to marry opposites. If both of you thought the same, then one of you would be unnecessary. If both of you are fantastic goalkeepers, who will score the goals? So there's a reason why God brought you together, and it's important and critical for you to learn how to succeed together. And there's a great scripture, by the way, that we consider a favorite scripture for us, because it was actually printed on our wedding card. It was our theme wedding card.
When cards used to be printed.
When cards were printed, those days. For some of you might be wondering what are cards. And it's basically, that was 27 years ago, going to 28. And maybe you can just read that verse for us.
Ecclesiastes 4:9-12, and it says, two are better than one because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. Also, if two lie down together, they will keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? Though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. A cord of three strands is not easily broken.
So the interesting thing is, when you think about the scripture, many times you would not think that an ancient book could have wisdom that would actually become life wisdom. It's something that would actually rescue couples in the 21st in this 21st century. But it's amazing how powerful this scripture is when you start to understand it and its dynamics and how it can work to liberate you as a couple. These family dynamics are actually overcome. So we're going to talk about the 5 benefits of working together financially. And we want to persuade you, if you're here, that you really are missing out when you don't work together financially. And the first reason why it's so important for you to work together financially is more profit. We put the chart on the chart, the verse that we just read. And it begins by saying, 2 are better than 1 because they have a good return for their labor. Now, return is actually a business term. This was business language that was being used by King Solomon, by the way, who was incidentally the richest guy of his time. And he's basically talking about profitability. In other words, he says, when you work together as a team, 2 are better than 1 because there's always more profit, or there should always be more profit. And that's called the law of synergy. The law of synergy means the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. And Proverbs 18:22, it's a really great verse. It says, he who finds a wife finds what is good and receives favor from the Lord. What is favor? Favor is approval, it's goodwill, it's benevolence beyond what is earned. It's actually divine acceleration. And so when you basically find, the Bible is saying, when you come together, when 2 become 1, there is approval, there is favor that God gives.
Yeah. And I think maybe it would be good if we shared how this has worked for us. Now, personally, I really depend on my good husband over here for vision and leadership. For example, in 2020, at the height of COVID, he proposed that we liquidate some of our savings and build a house. And I was so scared. I mean, you can now tell who's the high risk and who's the, low risk here. I was so scared. And the thing is that as a woman, money in the bank represents security. I don't know if anyone feels me here. And I would not even, so for me, even that idea would never have come to my mind. It was too much to be thinking about building a house. It was such a risky proposition, especially at the height of COVID. Yeah.
And you see, the thing about it is, for me, I'm just one of those people who I look ahead. I'm able to see ahead. And I was like, we don't know when this thing is ever going to end. We don't know how sustainable it is to live in a rental house. There's so many things we didn't know. And then we were able to do the calculations, and actually I was able to show her that this house is actually, it's an investment. because we're not going to live here forever. We're just setting it up, and it's going to end up being a really nice rental property. And so it's part of our investment plan. So I was able to actually move her back from panic and start to say, hey, this is actually helpful for us if we invest now. We'd have made this investment in the future, but COVID was a fantastic time for us to actually do it. And so for me, having done the maths, it was just interesting that I could actually convince you to take the risk. You see, the thing about it is, in every couple, there's one who sees big picture and opportunities. And when you start to learn to work together, because of course I couldn't have done it without you. When you start to learn how to persuade the other, and the other person stops seeing threat in that, but is able to bring in, because I think you are able to bring in a lot of caution, and you're able to raise the right questions. And that's how we work together. I find that we work really well together because you're able to temper and slow down and help me see, okay, what about this? Ask the right questions that even help me think better. So by the time I'm presenting to you, I'm presenting it really well. And so I think this is why we talk about more profitability. And I think in our lives, Carol and I have run many businesses, not one. In fact, we're just right now helping our daughters start our newest venture. And we both come alive. We love doing it. And the reason is because we both have fantastic, we have strengths that we've come to understand. This is your strength, you handle here. This is my strength, you handle here. And profitability has been the result of being able to work together. Yeah.
Well, the second benefit of working together financially is more help. And verse 10 says, if either of them falls down, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. And the reality is that no one of us is perfect. Even the strongest of us fails at points. And you know, we, as we have been saying, we each bring different strengths, and we need to cover each other's weaknesses when we, you know, and that happens as we work together.
Yeah. And you know, it's interesting when you talk about help, because when I usually tend to have the bigger picture for us as a couple. So I usually will have, I'm good at seeing the opportunity, basically. Yeah. So I remember, and I think for me, the crazy thing is I tend to see the vision. I get excited about startup, and all our businesses have been like that. Yeah. We run a media business where I'm the one who I learned how to edit videos and documentaries. I learned how I brought the staff on. I put a lot of energy, and then I got bored. I'm a starter. And I don't know how to keep running the thing long term. And then, I mean, how many businesses, even the one we're starting. But the good thing is now we know, because I know even as I'm starting it, Carol loves the fact that I have the latent energy. I'm the one who's going to boil the water until it's boiling. Yeah. But after that, I move aside. Yeah. And within the year, she's the one who starts running the business. Yeah. And because of knowing that, I mean, our video business, I remember, was the first business we really ran together as a formal business. Yeah. And it ended up being one of the leading businesses in its field in Nairobi. Yeah. And so I think that's a beauty of helping each other, understanding that you help each other, that your strengths are not a coincidence, that your opposite strengths. Yeah.
Now, you know, there are so many families where everyone is doing their own thing, and, you know, husband and wife are not talking. But when you look at that scenario, you know, you say, who is it who's really gaining when a husband and wife are not talking? And it is actually the state. It is the state. So to just give an example, in Kenya alone, I don't know about the East Africa region, but this is just to illustrate, you know, there's the Unclaimed Financial Assets Authority. And just according to a recent article, they are now sitting on 54.8 billion Kenya shillings, or $540 million in idle cash, shares, and dividends. Yeah. You know, so
these are people who died.
They died.
And their wives had no clue.
No clue. Yeah. So this is working very well, you know, for this, you know, agency.
And lawyers.
But
it's also been shown that when a family, when a succession happens and there's a strong mother involved, who was involved in the family business and understood it. By the way, you just look at any Kenyan family, for those of you who are Kenyans, that has had money that has passed on successfully from generation to generation. Guess what you're going to find? There's a strong matriarch in that equation. Yeah. When the guy died, because you guys always outlive us. That's just the way God has ordained it. I don't know, for some reason. Yeah. Maybe boy child just has enough stress. But when boy child goes to be with the Lord, there's somebody who understands. But let me tell you, it doesn't matter how much money was made. When the guy dies and the wife was unaware and she was not involved, you're going to find the children squabbling. There's nobody who's able to hold them together, and the business rarely goes to the third generation. Yeah, it's just doesn't. Over and over we've seen this happening.
Yeah. Okay, so the third one is more comfort, and that is verse 11.
Third benefit,
the third benefit of working together. And I'm hoping that maybe we can even ask people, we'll ask at the end just which one is the one that really has struck you. So probably after we go all 5 of them, people can just begin writing and saying which one is it that you're like, oh my goodness, we really must start working more together. But the third one is more comfort. And with more comfort, it says also, if 2 lie down together, they will keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone?
Yeah.
And that's Ecclesiastes, verse 11.
Yeah.
And keeping warm, 4:11. Keeping warm, this is a language of companionship. And, what's the fun of getting to the top of the pile and finding that you're alone? It's certainly more fun to work together. And for now, it does not make much sense for each one of you to work separately, growing your own individual wealth. And the interesting thing is that whereas you will certainly move faster when you work alone, you will also slowly grow apart. And as the years go by, you will have nothing in common except the children.
Yeah. Companionship. This is a major reason God put you together.
Yeah.
And I mean, we know couples who go on exotic holidays. I mean, you see them on Instagram looking amazing, and yet they're completely miserable. The crazy thing about being a therapist, being a pastor, is because you get to know.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're in awe at just how miserable these people are, and yet how amazingly good they look on those holidays. The pictures look so good.
Yeah.
You see, it doesn't matter if I can afford a holiday to Dubai. If I don't enjoy the person I'm going with, it's just not worth it. So holidays are only fun when you're with people who love you and whose company you enjoy. So you need the warmth of a genuine relationship. Your finances should actually help you grow together. You owe it to yourselves to grow together. So let me talk about the 4th benefit of working together financially. Just moving us along because of time. And like we said, if you have questions, if you have comments, just put them there on the chat, and we'd love to just be able to tackle them. We're trying to finish quickly, so if you have time for questions. So the 4th benefit of working together financially is protection, more security. And verse 12 says, though one may be overpowered, 2 can defend themselves. You see, in a marriage, you're always going to have 2 different perspectives. God allowed you to be different so that you can protect each other. So this is why you have a hoarder and a spender together. You're opposites, and the opposites are able to help each other so that you don't go overboard on one direction. You kind of keep each other, when you work together, you're able to keep each other working. And Kara and I are so different. I mean, if we didn't understand before we understood our differences, I mean, we used to get mad at each other
completely,
and we didn't understand that these were here to protect us. For instance, I'm more conservative. I mean, as much as you've heard about me being the one who takes risks, I'm more conservative in the way I spend money. So I'm a risk taker when it comes to investment, but when it comes to expenditure, I'm the conservative one. I'm very careful, and I save a lot. I'm that guy who will save, and it's helped us to grow our wealth. But if we only lived this way, if I was the one who was in charge, I can promise you now that I can see it in hindsight, would actually be rich and miserable. There's so much fun that Carol has allowed us to, because she allows us to spend. And I say this in the best possible way. I mean, she's the one who's been able to help us plan those special holidays or plan special meals, takeouts. And it's helped our family bond, even our kids, and enjoy fun memories together. Yeah. So that's part of why it's protected our family. So we haven't gone into one extreme.
And we may be laughing now, but this was definitely not the case. And in our earlier years, these differences really caused us a lot of friction. And for couples, people fight because we tend to be threatened by the differences. We don't realize our differences are our strengths. And so, but I thank God that I think at Couples and Money, that's one of the things that we really emphasize. So anyway, the final benefit of working together financially is more resilience. And it says a cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. And there's an African saying that says, when you want to go fast, you walk alone. But when you want to go far, walk with others. We go further when we walk together. And so I'd like to just address somebody here. No matter how well you feel you're doing right now, no matter how much you feel you're better off on your own and that your spouse will only drag you, you are better off when you work together. Because you see, wealth is not the only measure of success. Family cohesion and unity is the ultimate mark of success for our family.
We see this story, by the way, all the time. I mean, Mom is entrepreneur between the two of them. Dad can't hold a job down, let alone run a business.
Yeah, this is the story of our friend.
And yeah, I'm just quoting that, but I'm just saying, I mean, we've seen it.
Yeah.
And yeah, this was a particular story, but I've seen it other places as well. And what happens is you end up finding the guy is culturally supposed to be the provider, but he's the one who doesn't, he doesn't have the skills or the vision to actually create wealth. Now, God in his way and in his wisdom gave that to the wife. But then because the problem is in our culture, I'm supposed to be the provider, he holds back the wife and he doesn't allow her to really grow. And so it creates so much tension. And in this particular case we're talking about, you find that there was just a lot of anger between them, and the wife many times really disrespected her husband.
Yeah.
But the challenge also is she didn't see that it was him who kept the family together. I mean, he may not have been the entrepreneur, but God had given him the gift of just humor, loving on the children, encouraging them in school, caring for them. He was actually the one who reconciled people in their home and even in the wider family. And so this guy, I mean, it's so interesting because he's the one who actually held the family and helped the family succeed in the soft skills. And so in a sense, it's the wife didn't understand that he was contributing something, not what she wanted. She wanted the man to provide because that's his cultural thingy. He wasn't able to do it, but he was doing a provision that was very powerful. In the meantime, maybe she's frustrated. He's frustrated because she's not doing what, he's slowing her down because he's feeling like that's not the wife's role. And so she's frustrated as well. And both of them are not recognizing each other's powerful contribution. So when you start to understand the other person's contribution, oh my goodness. And that's really what Couples and Money is about, guys. We help couples to learn how to work together, because that's when they do that, they accomplish so much more than when they go alone. And the topics we cover, for those of you who haven't done it yet, those of you who've done it, you know these, and you can testify how powerful they've been for your marriage. We talk about things like different family backgrounds. And we also assess different personalities as the soft things, those background things, and how they help you approach money differently, and how those differences that have been causing wars or causing just indifference or causing you not to even, or even ignorance, how you can turn those things into strengths. You can leverage them into strengths that will help you become an unstoppable couple.
Yeah, we also help you understand why communicating about money is so hard or so difficult. And you're also trained on how to have regular, practical, and effective money conversations. We call that
money dates,
and we call that safe money conversations. And this one alone is worth the whole course.
I mean, a lot of couples testify that was just their turning point. Just learning how to have issues without tissues. You're able to actually talk without breaking
fireworks or waterworks.
And then also we teach you how to have a joint purpose for your money, and it's not like we tell you what your purpose is. It's already hardwired in you. And so we help you uncover what that purpose is. And then that begins to help you begin to figure out the important goals you should be working on together at each stage of your marital journey. I mean, you'll understand that if one of you is really a brilliant striker, I always use soccer as a thingy here, a metaphor here. And you've got a team, your goalkeeper is letting all the goals in. You'll never be a world beater. But when you begin to understand, my goodness, this is why God put us together. And here's the purpose he put us. And let me just say, younger couples, you will truly appreciate this one on purpose. But it's definitely relevant to all of us.
Yeah. And I think one of the things we've discovered is that debt is a real thing in families. It really is. It's a whole. It's really a whole, and you cannot move forward. We were talking about this here about, just the dynamics that are going to sabotage you. Debt is one of those things. If you don't manage your debt, if you don't know how to clear your debt, then you're going to be in trouble. And so one of the modules we talk about how to defeat debt. We provide a very practical tool that helps you create the margins you need in order to generate true wealth. How to get out of debt and then begin generating
margins. And then also, I mean, and we now get into that because now you can understand we're moving from soft stuff to the hard stuff. We teach you how to become good investors together. Some of you listened to the last couple of weeks, and I remember somebody actually telling me, Pastor M, those talks were really technical. And I said, oh my goodness, I didn't realize that they were technical. But a lot of our couples, because they've been walking the journey, this is a community of couples walking this journey together. I mean, this was stuff that they are aware about. It's stuff we've been talking about. So it was just helping them. And so I said, don't worry, join this community, because as we work together, these terms are going to stop looking like technical terms.
If I could understand those terms, anybody else can.
Yeah, but it's because of the journey that we work together.
Yeah.
And we teach you also how to teach your kids about money, so that this money that you're creating doesn't cause problems for the next generation, but actually brings blessing. And in addition to that, the class becomes an entrance into our community, because we have what we call the Couples and Money community. Apart from these public events, we also have private events. We bring in experts. We bring people to bring wealth management. We have resources to help bring wealth management. We have a community where we trade together. And so this is actually, the class is just the beginning. It's not an end into a big life of growing together. So I want to conclude, and we're going to conclude. By the way, for you who are here, class, the new class for January starts next Thursday. So just a week to go. And many of you have already signed up, and already, if you've signed up, you have already received your online account. You're going to get a call this during the week by your facilitator, because class will be starting next week. If you haven't signed up yet, we still have slots available. We still have some facilitators with some slots. So please sign up. As you can see, it's going to be a great investment. So thank you, guys. I hope this has been a blessing. I hope you've seen some of the pitfalls to avoid as we go into this year, but also you've begun to see that working together, you can not only overcome these pitfalls, but you can actually turn these pitfalls into an advantage as you work together as a couple. So allow us then, as we conclude, to hand over to the MC for any questions.
Wow, thank you so much, Pastor Em and Pastor Caro. Wasn't that amazing? Let's just celebrate them in the chat. Let's just celebrate them. They always bring this down so well. Wow. I don't know if you have any questions for them. I don't know if you have any questions. Now, I have myself and my colleagues who've been through Couples and Money right here to answer your questions. If you have any questions, just put it in the chat and we will be answering them right now. If you have any questions, just put them in the chat and we'll be answering them right now. As you're thinking about your questions, I have a few questions for you. As you're thinking about your question, I have a few questions for you, or some things to think about, and you can respond in the chat either by with a Y to say yes, or an N to say no. So, for example, you may be in a situation where one spouse is sending a lot of money to their family, and the partner does not understand why we have to send all this money to our family. If you relate with that, just put a Y there. This is not necessarily you, but you relate with that situation. One spouse sending all their money to their family, or sending a significant amount of family money, of family money to their relatives, and the other is like, I'm not getting what is going on here. All right. Next question. Budgeting. One of you believes we should budget, and the other is saying, why are we budgeting? What is this budgeting for? The money has come, let us spend the money. Budgeting. One of you is saying we need a budget, and the other one does not seem to just feel this budget thing. If your answer is yes, put in a Y. If you relate, type in a Y. If you don't relate, you can type an N. All right, wonderful. All right, budgeting. One of you says we need to budget. Another one is saying absolutely. Why is this budgeting? I don't get it. All right. The next one is about investing. One of you believes we need to invest as much as we can and put our money into investments. And the other is saying, I don't understand this investing. I don't think we need to spend a lot of time and energy into investments. Or they're just saying, I don't understand investments. We are not doing it. Investing. One of you is passionate about investing. The other one is saying investments, I don't think so. If you relate to this, you'll type a Y. If you don't relate, you'll type an N. All right. Investments. One is saying, let's invest. The other one is saying, I have no idea what it is about, or I don't care about this investing. Let's spend the money. We have worked so that we can spend the money. All right. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much for the responses coming. Keep them coming. You need to get into a project. You need to get into a project. And one of you is saying, let's tighten our belts so that we can get into this project. You need to invest in a project. And one of you is saying, let us tighten our belts so that we get into this project. And the other is saying, let's just spend the money we have. Money for the project will come. You can't seem to agree about tightening the belt for putting money into a project. One says, let's tighten our belt, let's save, let's reduce our expenses. And the other is saying, money for the project will come. We can even borrow for that project. If you relate to this, yes. If you don't relate, you can put a no. And last but not least, you have been put in a WhatsApp group recently, either for fundraising for a funeral expense or for fundraising for a hospital expense or fundraising for school fees. I will start. I could even put 3 Ys right there for myself. You've recently been added to a WhatsApp group either for funeral expenses, for school fees, for hospital bills. If you relate, you'll type a Y. If you don't relate, you'll type an N. Awesome. Now, if you typed yes to any of these questions, then you are in the right place. If you typed yes to any of these questions, then you are in the right place. Now, I'm cognizant of the fact that some of us in here have actually done. I also realize there are a number of us who have not done couples and money. And so I just want to give you an overview. Pastor Morethi and Karanjao actually went through some of the modules that we go through in couples and money. And first module is different strokes, where we talk about our different backgrounds. You heard Denzolas talk about how their different backgrounds actually impacted the way they engaged with each other and the way they engaged in money as a couple. And they needed to align and decide what it was they were going to do differently as a couple. What's going to work for them? There was the way their parents had managed money differently in different homes, but what was going to work for them? Then we look at different eyes, our different temperaments. One of us is a hoarder. One of us is a spender. One of us is an avoider. One of us is a loner. How do we engage with our different personalities into this space? The next is real talk. How do we have safe money conversations? Again, you heard Nzola talk about waterworks, and the Morethis talk about fireworks. And this is where anytime a money conversation starts, either tempers flare, everybody is angry, everybody is raising their voices, or one person is raising their voices and it just becomes a pool of tears. How do we have safe money conversations where no one feels like they're being attacked, no one feels like they're being judged, no one feels like they're being pushed into a corner? And then we talk about never working for money. What is the purpose of earning money? And as a family, as a couple, how do we align our purpose? Then in module 5, we talk about the money journey, understanding our different stages in life and how we need to save, how we need to invest for those different stages. What should be our money patterns or money habits for those different stages? Then number 6 is the debt trap. How do we manage debt? How do we deal with debt? How do we ensure that we are overcoming the challenges of debt. In Module 7, we talk about living sustainably. How do we live within our means or below our means so that then we can be able to achieve our financial goals? And Module 8 is building your net worth. How do we help couples understand how to, and here we help couples understand how to invest well towards growing their net worth. And here it's about investing together, not separately, but together towards achieving or growing their net worth. And then in Module 9, we talk about the power of giving. Generosity. How do we grow in generosity? How do we engage in generosity? And lastly, in Module 10, we talk about teaching our kids about money, introducing our children to the next, introducing the next generation to how to handle money effectively. If any of these modules speaks to you, then you are in the right place. And we're just going to share in the chat right now how to register for the next Couple and Money course. The course is broken down into a very simple model where we begin by watching a 30-minute video that talks about the topic of the day. After the video, there is a workbook that you get to discuss with your spouse and actually discuss, and there are certain activities that we give so that then you can be able to engage and internalize the conversations. And then we have an online meeting that goes for between 1.5 hours to 2 hours, where we actually discuss as peers what we've learned from the topic and the conversation. And this is where the power of Couples and Money comes out, because everybody brings in what they've understood and what their experience was and what their challenges have been. And in those conversations, we spur one another and encourage one another. And then we have cash flow gaming sessions, where in the first session we play as a cohort, as a group, and then in the second session we actually invite our friends to a time of engaging together. After the Couples and Money program, we introduce you to wealth advisors who will then walk with you for the rest of your financial journey in terms of just helping you make sound financial decisions. And this is in alignment with the goals that you have financially. We then introduce you to the alumni group, where you're able to grow your income streams, you're able to share with the community your vocation, whatever services or products that you have. And we also introduce you to what we call the Edenica community, where we get to come together as alumni to actually invest, save and invest together. And you might be asking, so how much do I need to pay for this program? If you pay in full for the entire program, you pay 19,000. If you're paying in lump sum, you pay 19,000. But if you pay in installments, where you pay 2,000 shillings per module, you get to pay 20,000. Now, you do not have to stick to the 2,000 per module. If you're paying in installment, you can actually break it down to what works for you, but not less than 2,000 per module until the completion of the program. So that is what Couples and Money is about. I know someone has requested, we've put in the chat the link to register for Couples and Money 2025. Our next cohort, our next season begins the week of the 6th of February, and we will have week 0 on the 6th of February. It will be an open session just like this one, where you can come in with your questions, but you need to register with at least 2,000 shillings so that you can get the invite into that week 0 session. And basically, we're going to break down in detail what Couples and Money is about, get you into your groups so that then you can be able to start with us in time. There's a question there from Isaac Wero. How can we access Pastor Muriithi Wanjao's questions? We're just going to share a number that you can that you can use to get the details. But also, if you could share your contact with myself or Dorcas Kabushwa in the if you can DM your number, we'll also give you more details on how to access. But in the meantime, we'll share the Couples and Money number so that you can be able to get in touch, and we will connect you with the books. Now, if you want to invite your church, if you want to invite a couples group that you're a part of, please get in touch with us. Reach out to the Couples and Money number. Get in touch with us. We can help you introduce this to a group of couples that you want to partner with in getting. We can connect you with a group of couples. We can get in touch and come and present Couples and Money to your group of couples that you'd want to do this with. And so let us know within the next few days, next few weeks. Reach out to us on the Couples and Money number. If you're invited by someone, reach out to them, let them know, and we will make that happen. Otherwise, I want to stop here if there are no other questions. I see Gilbert has a comment there. I think it's directed to Lillian Primus. So Lillian Primus, please attend to that question by Gilbert Mickey. And if there are no other questions, would like to bring this to a close so that then we can commit. How do you handle financial balance when you're both firstborns and you know expectations from both parents and continuous demands, and also need to establish a young family not to struggle in future? And furthermore, you come from a family where you believe when they educate you, you become like an investment, and if you are focused and refuse to be manipulated, they turn against you. If you allow yourself in, you won't be able to build your new family. Thank you so much for that question. I don't know who sent it, but I just want to address that. And of course, if any of the other people who've done Couples and Money want to chime in, just raise your hand and I'll give you a chance to also answer this question. You're both firstborns. You're an investment. You're the one who's been taken to school. They knew they were investing in you, and as soon as you finished school and got a job, they told you, welcome to Parenting 101. You are responsible for the rest of your siblings. I think it's important that you share this with your spouse and discuss how you want to run your finances as a couple. It is very important that you both agree what is going to be the best way to handle this. What are your family goals? And we have been in module 4, where we talk about the purpose of earning money. We discuss about coming up with a joint purpose for your family. And when you're coming up with that joint purpose, you actually decide as a couple, how do we want to move our family forward? Once you have agreed as a couple, you then communicate this to your families. One of the things that has been very powerful for us is we communicated to our families what we're doing as a couple, so that then they know how much is available to them on a monthly basis, because we'll have put it in the budget. And we tell them, we can only be able to give to you this much every month. We can only contribute to the family kitty this much on a monthly basis. And so they know to expect something from you, and it's a certain amount. All right. Now, the amount doesn't have to be equal, because one family may be more needy than the other. And so you need to decide and agree how much you're giving to each family. And then you communicate that amount to the family. Not say we are giving this much to our family and we are giving this much to my family. Communicate the amount to the specific family, and they know to expect that amount on a monthly basis. That way, everyone knows what to expect. You manage expectations and you communicate clearly what your plans are. That way, your family will understand. Even if they don't understand, they know you're not ignoring them, and there's agreement on how you want to do this. Thank you very much, Gilbert, for that. All the best, and we really look forward to having you in the sessions coming days. Awesome. I don't know if there's any other question. If there's none, we will conclude this now. And our prayer is that that which has been shared here will impact your marriage, will impact your family, and will impact your generations. There is power in this content, but more than that, there is power in you taking action based on what you've heard. You may have friends, you may have family members that you know need this, or maybe that you know have not done this. Share with them the registration link. Let them sign up. We'll share the videos with you in based on the contacts you've shared with us. We'll share communication with you and share it with your friends and colleagues. Don't let it end with you, so that more in your circles can become millionaires, as Jem and Eric have shown us. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, thank you for your time. Thank you for connecting with us this evening. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules and of your family time to be a part of this. Looking forward to seeing you in class. All the best. Have a wonderful year, and may God bless you.
Financial incompatibility is the leading cause of divorce and separation worldwide. Why is it that so many of us have bought into the lie that it is normal to be financially incompatible?
Over the years, we have encountered so many couples who have come up with questions for us. Questions like, should we have a joint account? What do we do with the spouse who's a hoarder and is, has held on to the money and is refusing to let go?
Or the spouse who's a spender and just wants to splurge whenever they make the money. What do you do when the husband earns a lot less than the wife? And we're talking about African husbands, sometimes can be very threatening situation.
Yeah, that can be. And as we reflected on the questions that we were receiving from all these couples, we realized that we have been blessed, honestly, to have had mentors who are older than us, who helped us understand how to manage our money together and even how to grow our money together.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's why we came up with Couples and Money. It's a 10-week online masterclass that helps you develop financial compatibility, financial oneness. It's going to teach you how to make money as a couple, but it's also going to teach you to have common values, that when you make money, money does not divide you, but actually draws you closer together. And we've seen couples change. We've seen people understand how to grow resource together. We've seen couples understand how to have safe money conversations, and that's a big deal.
That's a big
We've
deal.
seen couples being able to do great things that they only dreamt about being able to do previously before that.
Yeah. So if this sounds intriguing to you in any way, then we invite you to come to this mentoring program where you will be mentored together with your spouse on how to manage your finances together. So we encourage you, sign up for Couples and Money.
See you there.